Here's a bar graph with every 20 point per game season in Wnba history. There's been 28 players to score over 20 points per game in the season. 12 one-timers, including Candace Parker and Kalia Copper. 5 two-timers, including Maya Moore. 5 three-timers, including Arike Gumbawale. And then we have 6 4+ timers. If you go through the list, this is every single 20 point per game season. There's quite a few. There's a lot of mess here. Let's clean it up a bit. As you can see, a few seasons stand out. And if we clean it up a bit more, we have 4 really special seasons. 06 Diana Taurasi, the first 25 point per game season. We've got 08 Diana Taurasi, 2023 Jewel Lloyd, and 2024 Asia Wilson, the first 27 point per game season. Our 23 point per game seasons, Asia Wilson's stands alone. She is averaging the most rebounds of anyone to average this many points, the most steals, tied with Maya Moore, and the most blocks. And she's just under average for assists. So in the realm of greatest WNBA seasons of all time, 2024 Asia Wilson beats them all. The most points scored in a season, and she's doing all this other stuff. As a matter of fact, if we look at the top 10 scoring seasons in WNBA history, this is what it looks like. As you can see, somebody like Liz Cambridge averaged 23 points per game on 15 shots per game. We have players like Brianna Stewart, who averaged 23 on about 17 shots per game. Higher up, we have players like Tina Charles, took 20 shots per game, averaged around 23.5 points per game. Jewel Lloyd took just over 20 shots per game and averaged 24.5 points per game. Well, Diana Taurasi in 2006, in the old best scoring season in WNBA history, she managed 25.5 points per game, or just almost that, in 20 shots. This season, Asia Wilson is averaging 27 on the same 20 shots, while doing almost 50, 40, 90. She's just doing whatever she wants out there. This season, compared to the most efficient seasons in WNBA history, Asia Wilson in 2024 has the 10th most efficient WNBA season ever so far. And all the seasons beforehand, as you can see, these players who averaged more field goal percentage took less shots, at around 15 to 16 shots per game. This is the first time we've really had a player average this many points this efficiently. This is something different. As was shown before, that graph which showed that Asia Wilson is averaging the most points and rebounds and assists all put together. If you were to put all these things together and include other calculations, just to include efficiency and such, you land on what's called the player efficiency rating, PER. On this graph, we have every WNBA All-Star this season on their last 5 seasons, how their PER has been going. As you can see, it's pretty obvious that come 2023 and 2024, Asia Wilson has kind of turned it on. And according to this metric at least, she's by far the best player in the world. Now we have this metric here, offensive and defensive win shares. The Las Vegas Aces are currently number 2 in offensive rating in the WNBA. While they're doing that, offensive rating is points per 100 possessions. Now, if you were to look at Asia Wilson's stats per 100 possessions, she averages 39 points per game. If we're to put that into her team's offensive rating, she averages around 37% of her team's points, which is by far the most. of anyone, which is why her offensive win shares are so much higher than everyone else include in this graph, which has every WNBA All-Star in it. Now, defensively, she's still the number one in defensive win shares. This is because per 100 possessions, so if you were to give every single player on the Aces 100 possessions to score, to block shots, in 100 possessions, A'ja Wilson is number one. She'll block 4 shots, which is more than anyone else on the team. She will steal the ball 3 times, or almost 3 times. She will get the most defensive rebounds on the team, while being number 10 out of 12 in fouling, and number 2 in minutes. These are all defensive metrics, and this is why she's showing up as number 1 on the defensive win shares metric. These numbers look interesting, but when you actually look at what they're calculating, it's pretty obvious. The Aces are very good offensively, and they have the number 1 offensive weapon in WNBA history at the moment. The Aces are alright defensively, and A'ja Wilson is the cornerstone of that defense. Now, if we were to combine our PER graph for 2024 and win shares combined, we can see that A'ja Wilson, like I was saying, stands in a league of her own. Greatest season in WNBA history compared to very, very good WNBA All-Stars. The last thing to remember is that the Las Vegas Aces are kinda reigning and defending back-to-back WNBA champions. This season, they're trying to go for the three-peat, something we haven't seen in basketball in a long time. The Aces are currently number 5 in the league, but they're currently on a 8-2 streak in their last 10 games after a number of injuries. They're still the favorite to win the WNBA championship, and they kind of have the best player ever. I would probably say that this team has a chance to stand alone, and I'm really excited in what's happening in the WNBA, and it has nothing to do with Caitlyn Clark even.